We are kicking off the year by taking a deep, comprehensive look at the month that really defines aspiration and expectation.
January.
January. It's not just a page on the calendar, is it? It feels like the ultimate temporal milestone.
It is. It's that symbolic doorway we all step through, hoping to, leave the old habits behind.
And that doorway, I like that metaphor.
Well, it's named for Janus, the Roman god, who looks both backward and forward. And that really holds a huge paradox.
How so?
Why do we feel so motivated on January 1st, but then why do those huge changes often just stall out?
Right, by mid-month.
Exactly. So that's our mission today. We've got sources from psychological studies on success rates to the surprising military history of the calendar.
And even the geology of January's birthstone.
Exactly. So you want to get well-informed quickly, but also thoroughly. You want to get the core mechanics of why resolutions work or why they don't.
And that's what this deep dive is for, to deliver those core insights you need.
So let's start by looking forward into the psychology of what researchers call the fresh start effect.
Okay, so let's unpack this powerful impulse we all feel on January 1st.
The research is overwhelming on this. People absolutely use these temporal milestones, a new month, a birthday, a new year.
To reset.
To reset their motivation, yes, and to try and change their behavior.
And it seems to be a global thing, but with some variation.
It is. In the U.S., for instance, polls show something like 44% of people are likely to make a resolution.
Which is a huge number.
It is. But then you look at a place like Sweden, and participation is way lower, maybe 12 to 18%.
So that cultural pressure isn't quite universal.
It seems not. But to really get at what works, the researchers ran this really significant experiment. They tracked over 1,000 people.
1,000? Wow, so this is a pretty robust study.
Oh, yeah. 1,066 individuals, to be precise. And they just followed them right after they made their resolutions.
And what did people resolve to do? I can probably guess.
You can.
Yeah.
The categories are exactly what you'd expect, and they show where our collective anxieties are. Physical health was number one.
Of course.
It claimed 33% of all resolutions. Then you had weight loss right behind it, 20%, and then eating habits at 13%.
So wait, that's 2/3 of all resolutions focused squarely on the body.
Exactly. After that, it drops a bit. You see personal growth like learning a skill at 9%, and then mental health and sleep down at 5%.
These are the things we all want when the calendar flips.
They are.
But the big question, the one that's always the hurdle, is the success rate.
Right. And after a full year, this study found 55% of participants considered themselves successful.
Hold on, 55%. When I first saw that number, I had to pause because that sounds surprisingly high.
It is high, especially when you look at older classic studies, like the work by Norcross. That showed success rates closer to 19% after 2 years.
So there's some hope?
There is. And the key insight, and this is probably the most valuable thing for you to take away, is the difference between two kinds of goals: approach-oriented goals and avoidance-oriented goals.
And which one is the winner?
Approach goals. By a long shot. The vast majority of people, about 64.5%, naturally chose approach goals.
So that's focusing on what you want to gain, like I'm going to start going to the gym.
Precisely. And their success rate was nearly 59%.
And avoidance goals.
Yeah.
That's about what you want to quit, like stop eating sugar.
Correct. And their success rate was way lower, only 47.1%.
Wow.
The conclusion is just crystal clear. When you're framing your goals, you have to focus on the positive action, what you're going to do, not what you're going to stop. It's about building a better future, not just punishing the past.
That same research has another huge insight, something they call the support paradox.
Yes, this was fascinating. They split the participants into 3 groups. Group 1 got no extra support.
The control group.
Right. Group 2 got some support, and Group 3 got extended, very structured support.
And the assumption would be that more support equals better results.
Of course. But the data just completely flips that script.
How so?
Group 2, the some support group, was significantly more successful than both the no support group and, this is the crazy part, the extended support group 3.
Wait, let me stop you there. So more structure, more resources actually hurt the participants' success. That just seems wrong.
It feels wrong, but that's what the self-reported data showed.
So what was the difference? What did Group 3 get that Group 2 didn't?
That's the critical question. Group 2 got some basic social support info, monthly check-ins, and 1 email about coping. A nice light touch.
Okay, a solid foundation.
A solid foundation. Group 3 got all of that, plus super detailed instructions on goal setting. They had to use the SMART criteria.
The classic, specific, measurable.
Accepted, realistic, and time-framed. And this is key. They also had to set 6 interim goals for each resolution.
So group 3 basically got the gold standard of modern goal planning. Why would that lead to a lower success rate?
Well, this gets to the core of how we perceive success. The researchers suggest the structure itself was the problem. A vague goal like, I want to take better care of my health.
Right, that allows for some wiggle room.
A lot of wiggle room. Any positive change feels like a win. You feel momentum, and that feeling sustains you.
Okay, I see where this is going.
But if your goal is hyper-specific, I must run 4 times every week and log it, the second you miss one run.
You failed. It's black and white.
Exactly. The specific goals, while great for measuring things, created all these explicit opportunities for perceived failure. Group 3 just felt they were failing more often.
That completely changes how you should look at setting goals. The psychological cost of that clarity might be too high.
It might. But on a related note, the act of striving itself was still good for everyone.
Regardless of the outcome.
Yes, the secondary outcomes were really encouraging. People who succeeded reported big increases in self-efficacy.
Which is your belief in your own ability to succeed.
Exactly. And they also had a higher quality of life, which was measured on something called the BBQ scale.
The BBQ scale. That's a new one for me.
It's just a measure of life satisfaction and coping. But here's the kicker. Both groups, the successful and the unsuccessful ones, reported they procrastinated less than before the study started.
So even if you don't hit the target, just the act of aiming is good for you.
It seems so. It provides real benefits.
All right, let's transition now and embrace that Janus theme. Let's look backward at the history of January.
The month itself is, of course, named for Janus, the Roman god of doorways, beginnings.
And transitions, which is just the perfect symbol for someone trying to quit an old habit and start a new one.
It really is. But what's so fascinating is that January wasn't always the start of the year.
Oh, right. The original Roman calendar was shorter?
Much shorter, only 10 months. They basically just ignored winter. January and February were added much later, around 7th and 13 BC.
But even after they were added, the new year didn't start on January 1st for a long time.
Not at all. For centuries, the Roman consular year, which is when the top officials took office, started on March 15th.
So when did it change, and why?
The big shift to January 1st happened in 153 BC. And it wasn't for some grand ceremonial reason. It was entirely practical and military.
A logistics issue.
Yes. It was all driven by the Lusitanian War happening over in Hispania.
So they needed to get officials into office sooner.
They needed to accelerate the dispatch of aid and leadership to the front. So they moved the start of the consular year up by 2.5 months.
So our global tradition of fresh starts is rooted in the logistics of managing a war. That's a bit cynical.
It is a sobering thought, isn't it? And it reminds you that January has always been tied to struggle. The Saxons called it Wolfmonth.
The Wolf Month.
The Wolf Month, because it was so harsh. Charlemagne called it Wintarmanoth, the cold month. And that feeling definitely persists, especially with this idea of Blue Monday.
Ah, Blue Monday. The third Monday in January, supposedly the most depressing day of the year.
We have to set the record straight on this one. It's a total myth, a marketing construction.
He wasn't based on any real science.
Yeah. Not at all. It was invented in 2005 as a PR stunt for a travel company called Sky Travel.
And they came up with some kind of pseudoscientific formula for it.
They did.
Yeah.
It had variables like dead after Christmas, bad weather, failing resolutions,
Yeah.
all designed to make people feel bad enough to book a vacation.
Unbelievable.
Even the creator, a man named Cliff Arnold, later apologized. He said it had become a damaging, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Still, even if the label is fake, the challenge of midwinter is very real, right?
Oh, absolutely. The cold, the short days, they do negatively affect mood. It can contribute to seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, which affects a huge number of people.
And the practical strategies to combat that.
They actually mirror what we were just talking about with resolutions. It's all about approach goals, setting goals for yourself, improving your environment, getting enough sleep, staying active.
All constructive responses. And speaking of which, there's one massive modern approach goal that fits this month perfectly. Dry January.
Dry January is such a fascinating public health phenomenon. It's aimed at moderate drinkers, not people with dependency issues, to sort of reassess their relationship with alcohol.
And the benefits are real.
Oh, the benefits are immense. A study at the Royal Free Hospital looked at moderate drinkers who did it. They found improved concentration, better sleep,
And physically?
reduced cholesterol, lower glucose levels, lower blood pressure, weight loss, and, this is the astonishing one, a 40% reduction in liver fat.
40% in just 1 month.
In 1 month. It's a massive return on your investment.
But does it last? Or do people just go back to their old habits on February 1st?
That's the most compelling part. It actually works as an intervention. 6 months later, 72% of the participants said they had permanently reduced their harmful drinking levels.
So it's a perfect case study.
It's a perfect case study of how a temporary, approach-oriented goal can create massive, lasting change.
Let's turn our gaze now to the symbolic side of January. The birthstone is the garnet.
Right, which historically represents constancy and commitment.
A very appropriate symbol for a month of resolutions.
It really is. The name comes from the Latin granatus, which means like a grain.
Because it looks like a pomegranate seed.
Exactly. And garnet isn't actually one single stone. It's a whole group of minerals. That's why it comes in this incredible range of colors.
Not just red.
Not just red. You see tangerines, greens, pale pinks, even purple. And it's pretty durable, a 7 to 7.5 on the Mohs scale, so it's good for jewelry.
Okay, so what are the common types versus the really valuable ones?
Well, the most common and affordable are almandine, which is that dark brownish red, and pyrope, which is the classic blood red.
Yeah.
But the really interesting ones are the rare greens.
That's where it gets valuable.
That's where it's just really valuable. You have 2 stars, demantoid and savorit.
Demantoid. Tell me about that one.
Its name is Dutch for diamond-like. And in one key way, it's actually superior to a diamond. It has more fire.
Okay, explain fire versus brilliance for us.
So brilliance is the white light that sparkles back at you. Fire, or dispersion, is when the stone acts like a prism and splits that white light into a rainbow of colors.
And demantoid has more of that than a diamond.
It does. It throws off more dramatic flashes of color. It was found in Russia's Ural Mountains in 1868 and became a favorite of Carl Faberge.
Which makes sense. He would have had first access to those amazing Russian stones.
Precisely. And a cut one over a single carat is considered extremely rare.
Wow. Okay, and the other one was savorit.
Savorit. It's this rich green color thanks to vanadium. It has incredible brilliance, but it's also really robust. It has a similar hardness to emeralds, but it's much sturdier, less likely to chip.
So it's a fantastic alternative to emerald, which is notoriously fragile.
It is. Cut stones over 2 carats are very rare, which leads to this joke in the industry.
Which is?
They call it the Rolls-Royce of greens at Cadillac prices.
I like that. And to link it all back, there's this great lore about garnets.
Yes, the travelers wore them for protection, that they were believed to light up the night. The legend says Noah used a garnet lantern on the ark to navigate.
What a perfect symbol for a stone that's meant to guide you through a transition. Okay, finally, let's get really practical and forward-looking. Let's talk about winter gardening.
This is such a great way to channel that approach-oriented, fresh start energy. We use a Zone 6B example here for context.
So what's the first thing you do in the garden in January?
The first rule is to enjoy the rewards of last year's work. The main focus is harvesting.
You can still harvest things in January.
Oh yeah, anything you have under protection, like a row cover or a cold frame.
What kind of crops are tough enough to survive that?
The real cold tolerant staples. You've got the beet, family beets, spinach, Swiss chard, then the whole cabbage family, Brussels sprouts, kale, radishes, and even things like carrots and leeks.
A welcome harvest when nothing else is fresh. But beyond that, January is the planning month.
It is all about planning. This is when you design your garden layout, figure out your crop rotation, and critically, make your seed and supply purchases now.
And get your indoor seed starting station ready to go.
Exactly. Get those lights and heating mats set up. And for the garden beds themselves, assuming the ground isn't a block of ice, you want to focus on soil health.
Setting yourself up for success later in the year.
Months from now, yeah. So you cut back any dead plant matter and you tackle any weeds that are popping up.
And you chop the weeds back but leave the roots? That always feels counterintuitive to me.
I know, but that is the heart of the no-till principle.
Explain that.
By leaving the roots, you let them biodegrade naturally in the soil. That prevents disrupting the whole soil structure, all the microscopic life in there.
And the decomposing roots actually feed the soil.
They feed the soil, they improve drainage, they create pathways for air and water. It's the best thing you can do for your soil's long-term health.
Yeah.
And now is also the perfect time to gently work in amendments, like compost, into those inactive beds.
What a journey. January is, it's defined by Roman military strategy, by the constancy of a demantoid garnet, and by our own pursuit of change.
And I think the most practical takeaway is that success is so often dictated not by your willpower, but by the language you use.
Shifting from avoidance goals to approach goals.
Exactly. And also understanding that support paradox. That setting those hyper-specific SMART goals with all their little deadlines can actually be counterproductive.
Because it just highlights every single time you fail.
It illuminates too many failure points. The month is just so perfectly named for Janus, the god of doorways. It's a gateway, forcing you to look at where you've been and where you want to go.
So we'll leave you with this provocative thought to carry through your January plans.
If setting hyper-specific goals can sometimes decrease your self-reported success because they clarify failure so clearly, should we maybe prioritize the feeling of momentum and subjective success by keeping our goals slightly less defined?
Or should we stick to the clarity of those highly specific goals, even if they make us feel less successful in the short term?
The path forward, it seems, might be in finding that perfect balance between ambition